Hello, this is Paloma. I come back with the story the sky is telling for the next few days. Beautiful family. Thank you for sharing space with me. And yes, in the midst of these very holy days, um, I want to tell you the story for the energy. We are opening a new month. Honestly, I've been telling people that to try and take it easy during November. It's a very different energy. I think it will bring some um, perhaps surprises, awakenings, yet the energy all feels very retrograde, which invites to regenerate, to rest when possible, and to allow for everything to be integrated from, what 2025 has been about, which is a lot. So, what I really want to talk about also is the full moon in Tauro that we're having on the 5th of November. She will be receiving the light of the sun in Scorpio, of course. We are in Scorpio season. And as every time, this is a culmination of an emotional cycle that will bring a harvest and perhaps a realization. So 6 months ago, to be precise, on the 27th of April, we were planting a seed of intention, probably an intention around our values, around genuine deserving and worthiness, about communing with the beauty of simplicity, of just ordinary life, and a coming back to the essential. So, in the light of this full moon, how are we in terms of perhaps getting liberating hustle and truly opening ourselves up to what is truly important or sacred for ourselves, making space for rest, not and belonging to ourselves, not as a luxury, but as a necessity, and also just allowing emotional depth as a guide towards our transformation. Because I think that's a lot of what these 6 months have been about in terms of this particular moment of the super full moon in Tauro. We are at the last stage of this year. And this year has, in many ways, asked us and maybe humbled us into surrender and surrender and surrender, letting go of control and trusting in what we feel. So we can also sort of reconnecting to our bodies so we can find safety within our bodies and within this restored and vital relationship with our physical temple. So in Tauro, we've also been rebuilding, I would say, our relationship to prosperity, to money, through integrity, ideally, and the intention of keeping a sustainable rhythm for ourselves and for Mother Earth. So all of this will be illuminated and more, so we can harvest, perhaps allowing ourselves to truly listen to all of these parts of ourselves throughout these 6 months, or maybe becoming aware that we've been distracted from what is truly essential. Because I think this is a calling really to go back to essentials. So I was teaching a class about this moon, and to me, it has such a magnificent exaltation of and celebration of feminine energy. And I feel it like that, even though it has some disruptive energy and transformative energy, of course, it feels so filled with life. To me, it feels like a pregnant sky, or like the Empress from the tarot. No, it feels fertile in a way. So to begin with, it happens on the 13th degree, which is a number that actually connects us to the feminine energy through the moon cycles. And it's also a powerful transformative number. This moon is ruled by Venus. And Venus, at the time of this full moon, she is in Libra, which is another of her houses. So the goddess is there, like truly expressing the beauty and the radiance of her energy. By the moment of this full moon, she's going to be on the 28th degree of Libra. So what just happened there? 2 weeks ago, we had a new moon in Libra, remember, and it was on the 28th degree. So I think we're going to have a very immediate manifestation of this, which and then I was speaking to of as a seed of peace, of balance, of equilibrium and justice. So this is a very just plentiful Venus in Libra and a moon in her splendor in Tauro. This is both schools of the goddess, as I say, of beauty, of love, and relationships. So, of course, part of this illumination goes straight to to the scenario of relationships in our lives. Now we will see the harvest of honesty or the clarity of every hidden dynamic of power within every kind of relationship that we are participating in. Because Venus, at the time, she's actually the last personal planet that has been doing this T square, if you remember, opposing Chiron, the wounded healer, that we've been working through a long time in terms of the wounded identity, sense of self, and independence within the context of co-creating and collaborating. And they're both squaring Jupiter in Cancer, no, which is amplifying everything, maybe amplifying family or familiar patterns so we can free ourselves from loyalties and expand our sense of security and belonging through love, justice, and peace. And speaking of Jupiter in Cancer, I've been talking about this. He's weaving this beautiful trine to Saturn retrograde in Pisces. And this is going to last for quite some time. It's part of the very creative energy, I would say, of 2026. It will enter this very fiery stage by then. Right now, at the moment of the full moon, the trine is quite perfect. So this is also this gestation energy that I feel. Even when I look, if you look towards February 2026, when we will enter the 0 degree, the beginning, the creation degree of Aries, and we'll have that very powerful conjunction of Neptune and Saturn. Right now, we would be in the final trimester of this pregnancy, so to speak. So there is this, we're full of this life and of this calling us into creative responsibility and spiritual sovereignty of our lives. But I mean, it speaks of creative energy, of fertility. And if we look at the characters and the schools that they're working with, it speaks of consistency, of commitment. Nothing superficial or with, I would say, dishonorable motives can truly, I don't know, cross the threshold of this energy. Because by this moment, even though Venus is still in Libra, she's applying a square to Pluto. She will enter Scorpio later this week, 6th or 7th of November. So we are already feeling the intensity of this passion or possession, right? So in these fixed signs, Taurus and Scorpio are fixed signs. There's always a need to be aware of being too obstinated. I hope that word exists. Or attachment, right? With Venus entering Scorpio, we are going deeper into these waters. We will still have a lot of water and water trines through November. I think we've been feeling that. The amount of water that is mobilizing the sky through the trines, it's very vulnerable, but it's also just so deep in the healing potential. And I think honesty, radical honesty, seems key for the moment. Relationships can become, with Venus here, an initiation or initiatory path of healing and of rebirth. No way, because she is entering the school of power and mystery. Now, this is an invitation to actually live with that intensity and awareness. Okay, this is still a sky that is sort of screaming freedom and change. So the day that we have the full moon in Tauro, we also have, we already have Mercury in Sagittarius. He entered this week. And in just a few days, he's going to start his retrograde motion. It's going to be from the 9th till the 29th of November. So be aware of that. He's going to move from Sagittarius to Scorpio and back. But the thing is, Mars is also arriving to Sagittarius, so the sky gets a bit more fiery here. This is a school of travel, of enthusiasm, of a quest for truth, protecting freedom. But not only is this like lighting up a like a vision quest of meaning and transcendence, they are both opposing Urano at the moment. So very calm, very calm. It doesn't look like it. This is like plot twists, really. Unexpected plot twists and news and messages and communications and ideas that surprise us and that catalyze change. So in terms of Mercury, let's just be aware this is one of 3 times that he's gonna oppose Urano. So let us not be too hasty into jumping to absolute or final conclusions. There will be a process here. But with Mars, See, this is a fiery Mars, and he was very strong in Scorpio. He's now entering this fiery energy, and he's a fiery character in himself. And opposing Urano, this could lead to some impulsivity. The combination can to me it seems like we could be a bit clumsy because the energy feels so deep, and then all of this impulsivity, we can be clumsy, and this could cause small accidents or not small accidents. So let us breathe through it and just be aware of our movements, of our bodies. There's a word, proprioception, of becoming aware of our bodies in movement, so we don't stumble. No, I think this is going to be important throughout. Also, because the downloads of energy are so strong that we get a little wobbly. No, so just be aware of that. I would invite us through the energy of the full moon in Tauro to create a foundation of calmness, of peace, from where to move towards perhaps that adventure that we have ahead of us. But let it come from calmness, let it come from peace, and then we will have purpose in our movement, and we will have I don't know, integrity and awareness, consciousness in our words. Because, when Mars and Mercury are together, and they're going to have another conjunction there in Sagittarius, I think it's beautiful because it aligns mind, words, and actions with integrity, again, ideally. But it's also, there's no filter between what I think, what I say, and what I do, and it happens really fast. No, and we are in a reflective mode. So let us be reflective. Okay. Also, when we hear there's going to be Urano energy, and we think disruption and tower moments, but these surprises can also be quite positive. I say quite motivating, inspiring, like inspiration in action within the context of retrograde energy. And we are also receiving all of this energy from the cosmos. I'm sure you're aware of the 3i Atlas. He's going to be conjuncting Venus actually a couple days before the full moon. So I feel like this is Urano at the last moments that he's going to be in Gemini. I mean in the full moon. So this is like a message from the future also, because we know next year he's going to enter Gemini and stay there for quite a few years. And we're going to be finally like truly entering and being installed in this air era, no? So for now, we have it's like the future is calling us into integrity so we can get there. I hope I'm making sense to you. And speaking of Urano, he is about to re-enter Tauro for the very last time in our lives. He's re-entering Tauro on the 8th of November. His cycle is of 84 years. So that's, probably we won't get to see him there again. And we are saying goodbye to a transit of 8 years while he was in Tauro, where all of the security of the Tauro energy was truly shaken for all of us. No, so this is the end of that journey. So aside from a few shakeups that I think we might still get through November, I think it's mostly in terms of collective energy, to be very honest, in terms of economy, of values. Probably Mother Earth will feel the need to shake off a little bit. But in terms of you and me, in a personal level, I think we can also harvest these last moments of Urano in Tauro, which is also deeply feminine and linked to Mother Earth. We can harvest from the school of beauty, which is Tauro, the communion with Mother Earth and the remembering that we are the carers of the garden, right? So within this moment, as I said at the beginning, of deep reverence to life, to death, to our ancestors, with a full pregnant sky, no, in the school of beauty, inviting us back to her, to Mother Earth, to listen to her, to love her, to to enjoy being incarnated here and now, and to truly remember our commitment with perhaps our original mission of cultivating the garden, the beauty of existing, and to live, not survive, with calmness and peace. As I said, I think there's still a few, what's the saying in Spanish, is like a few aces under the sleeve before the year ends. I think 2025 still has some surprises. But I think if we are intentional, we can use also the energy of November to recalibrate, as I said, regenerate, assimilate, get inspired, and rest. When possible, allow yourself to rest. So wait a minute. Yeah, well, throughout November, we're going to be like with the energy similar to the energy that started 2025. No, Urano back in Taurus, Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. And then by 11th, we're going to have Jupiter going retrograde in Cancer as well. So you get what I'm saying, right? Just enjoy your days. Take plenty of pauses and breathe and harvest presence. That's my wish for you, for us. And I think that's what I have for you, my beautiful family. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the channel, for subscribing, for liking, for sharing. This helps a lot for the message to expand. Blessings. Tlazo Kamati.